function and your ambient, they're as important because you need to be able to use and work in your kitchen.
Would you rather design a kitchen or a bedroom?
Kitchen.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Hello. Hi.
That was so scary. I was like, am I requesting here or am I not requesting? I've never actually requested to join a live before, so I was like, oh Jesus.
Oh, have you not? Is this your first live?
No, it's not my first live, but it's my first time requesting to join one. So
Okay,
like,
okay.
Oh, I hope I'm doing this right. But anyway, I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, you're here. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I actually took some notes.
Oh my god, wow. Very excited. Very good. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm actually joining from County Kerry.
Oh, County Kerry. Are you on holidays?
No, I'm actually originally from Kerry, so I'm in my home house at the moment.
Okay, oh very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well thank you for taking the time. And yeah, so you've moved to Limerick recently, I see.
I've moved to Limerick, yes.
Yeah.
So we're still in renovation mode there, hence why I'm in Kerry.
Okay, and how is it going?
It's going good. We haven't actually got to the kitchen yet. We're kind of focusing room by room. So we're looking at the bathroom now, and once that's done, we can actually move in. We got new floors for the upstairs, so it's going. It's slowly but surely. I think every trade person is booked at the moment. It's so difficult to get anybody. Like, I have been trying all of the tricks, begging, pleading. It's just not happening. Like,
it's not happening, not at the minute.
Yeah.
Well, that's so exciting, and that takes us nicely into the theme of today, which is kitchen design.
Yeah.
So a lot of these tips and tricks you're obviously going to be using yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is so good for the followers because we get asked all the time about kitchen design, so we're so excited to talk to you about that today.
I think there's a lot in kitchens, isn't there? Because there's a lot of definite needed task, and then there's the ambience as well. There's lots of kind of nice design elements you can do with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the heart of the home, as they say. So yeah. If you've a good kitchen, you can kind of get away with a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Right, so we get started.
Let's go.
Okay. So let's start with the kitchen cabinets. So there's a lot to consider. So what do you think when it comes to the design, style, and different layouts of the kitchen?
Yeah, so with kitchen cabinets, let's say the layouts I would actually start with in terms of the size of the kitchen. So if it is a very large kitchen, you can do anything from your L shape with an island, U shape with an island. And then let's say if it's a smaller kitchen, you quite possibly will be restricted to the single wall or even the galley kitchen. You'd see a lot in apartments, and people don't really like them all that much, but I think that they can be quite nice. You get a lot of function within a small space. But I think in terms of, and I actually only kind of started thinking about this today when I was looking at your questions, a good go-to that's kind of an in-between would be an L shape, and then either having a peninsula or having an island. You can get quite a lot within them. They work in smaller kitchens, they work in medium kitchens, and they work in larger kitchens as well.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting one.
Because there's so many layouts, and that's just my opinion, you know what I mean? Because when I was thinking about it, I was like, is there a general one that works with all? And it's like, they're so bespoke, you know?
They are. Every kitchen is so different, yeah, absolutely. And then, so let's say with the smaller kitchens and storage-wise, what would you kind of recommend for that? Because I know there's some of the smaller kitchens, you know, people find it hard to, you know, fit everything in, and like, what would you advise for like storage in a smaller kitchen?
So the first thing that I would do when, like, if you're starting from the start, I'd always get the kitchen built up to the ceiling, or as high to the ceiling as possible, because you're going to gain about half a cabinet there, so why not? And it actually looks a lot more finished. But then let's say in smaller kitchens, if they're already there and you're kind of trying to think of small elements to get storage, little hooks underneath the cabinets are a really good idea. Pull drawers are like your best friend in terms of storage, and then like corner pull drawers,
like the ones that like swivel,
things like that. So if you have a good kitchen designer, they'll usually suggest all these kind of new things that are coming in or whatnot to get the most out of your kitchen space. I've seen quite a bit now actually, people using a a push-pull system on the side of the kitchen where you can, let's say, put your keys up, or you can put your post and things like that. So there really is there's so many different elements for getting that extra storage in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and sorry, I meant to actually point this out in the beginning. You are an interior architect and designer, so you know all about the little intricates and all those things. So, do you want to tell us actually a bit more about that and your Style So Simple?
Well, that's it. That's it. My name is Aoife. I run the design house Style So Simple. I'm an interior architect and designer, and yeah, that's it. I'm down in Kerry at the moment.
Down in Kerry, and you started off in 2017, and you've come so far. You've won so many awards, even in the last couple of years. So,
oh my God, thank you so much. That's so nice of you. Thank you.
Oh my God, not at all. We're so happy to have you on. And then, okay, so we have here another question. So, kitchen lighting varies in style and function. How important is it to get the right lighting in a kitchen?
So important. So, style and function, function always is key. So, like, your task lighting is always going to be the thing that I would start with. I feel like, I don't know if you've found this actually, a lot of people don't like spotlights at the moment for some reason. I think they were such a big thing before. People just don't like them. Anytime I suggest them to people, because they're such good task lights, especially in a kitchen run and walkway. And if they're recessed, they can be quite nice. But in terms of, let's say, mixing your task and your ambient, so let's say you need to have task above your hob, above your sink, but above your sink is a nice area that you can actually do a nice ambient drop. That's also a task. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, definitely. And let's say wall lights, like I've seen quite a lot now of kitchens where they're not actually using a lot of upper cabinets, and so they do quite a lot between, let's say, a shelf being built up and then wall lights, and they're purely for ambience, but they can have such an effect in the kitchen. Like, there's such a lovely design element. So in that case, your function and your ambient, they're as important, because you need to be able to use and work in your kitchen. But then, let's say if we were sitting down at my lovely new kitchen when it gets done at the island or something, we don't want to be under really stark task light. We want to be in an ambient. Do you know what I mean? So a good trick with that would be is actually having them on two separate switches as well, that they're not on together.
Okay, yeah, and even maybe having a dimmer there as well, that you can
play with it. Your best friend, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And
you were talking about kitchen islands there. So kitchen island lighting is definitely a big, people think that you can find the perfect kitchen island, that there is one perfect light. But it's so difficult, and everybody's style is so different. So what would you be your go-to advice for finding lights for your kitchen island?
See, it's because even I was thinking about that today. Like, there's no, like, it's so bespoke as well. It really depends on the size of the island, first of all, what size light you can do, the style of the kitchen. Does the kitchen need to be a bit warmer? But like, little things that I'd look out for is, let's say, if a kitchen is like, the tap is chrome, the appliances are chrome and black, but then their handles are brass, and there's nowhere else that we can see brass within the kitchen or the dining area, I would then initially think, right, we need to take that brass and bring it into the lighting, because you can mix your metals, that's no problem. It's a myth that you can't, but you can't just have a standalone different metal within a space, because it looks then like it's an afterthought. It needs to be well thought out. So that would be one area. Do you need to link your materials within the space that's already built?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
There's then kind of the general ones, like, let's say, like a rattan light is going to be slightly more rustic. A distressed wood is going to also be more rustic, but it can also be quite timeless. Brass is beautiful and classic, and it can be a little bit more contemporary, and then chrome can be quite glamorous and it's quite classic as well. So there are those kind of elements too, but definitely there's never one that's just perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Depends on the side of the kitchen, like the cabinets, totally. Like you said before. Yeah, absolutely, everything.
And it's where you start bringing in your personal touches. Like a rattan light is really going to change the look of a handleless kitchen as opposed to a chrome light.
Yeah.
one will be kind of more masculine and contemporary, and the other will be warmer and a bit more transitional.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense. I don't know.
No, it absolutely does.
And I'm like,
No, I know it absolutely does. Keep a nice flow going throughout the kitchen and not have it, too mismatched. Or
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of how many lights, so let's say a pendant light, how many lights would you typically advise for? I know it again depends on the size, but what would you typically recommend?
So it totally depends on the size of the island. So and the size of the light as well. So it would be kind of more like, let's say if you want to go for 3, you need to make sure that there's enough space on the island that there's about at least 15 centimeters either side, and that they're not too crushed together. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes 3, I think people have that number in their head, but sometimes 3 then can take over and it looks too confusing and you can't actually, it's not balancing. So I try to keep about 60 centimeters between each light.
About 60?
So about 60 between each light, if possible. Also, if in terms of placement then, as long as it's centered and quite balanced, then it's going to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of the drop, so what length should your lights be?
So I think they typically say, is it between 75 and a meter from the island to the bottom of the light, but then that changes with let's say the height of ceiling. So I think that's for like a standard 2.6 ceiling, but then for vaulted ceilings you'd want to add on a little bit for the height of it.
Okay. When you mentioned vaulted ceilings, that is a question that we get asked a lot. So what would your advice be for vaulted ceilings?
So the main thing would be that you don't want them to be very far up where they're lost. You can't see them. The whole point of the drop of the light is that it's emphasizing the height and we can see it, if that makes sense. So if you have it too high up, you're searching for it, doesn't work. So if we think our first standard, if we can, it's about 75 to a meter. So, and that's for a 2.6 ceiling. So you want to add about 8 centimeters to the drop for every 30 centimeters of the vaulted ceiling height. Does that make sense? That was a lot of numbers.
It would have to be, I would have to do the maths. I can't tell you straight away, but but it does make sense.
Basically, if your ceiling is 30 centimeters higher than the standard ceiling, just add 8 centimeters to your drop. But all of these things as well, and I'm sure that you would see that too. A lot of it is by eye, and like electricians, I'd say I'm like their least favorite person, because I'd be like, just a little bit here, just a little bit here, or a little bit higher. The main thing, honestly, is that you don't want it to be lost. You want it to be within your vision when you're looking at, let's say, the island or the peninsula in the kitchen, that it's not too far up. And that's kind of the main mistake I'd see people making, is that they push their lovely drop lights in their vaulted ceiling too high up, that you're not actually getting the proper visual effect of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose it's to really highlight the drop of the ceiling.
It really is. Yeah. You have that height. It's so lovely that and so many people are doing vaulted ceilings now.
Yeah.
So lucky, so you want to show it off.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We actually, Alana gets asked this question on a regular basis, so she's actually making a blog post up at the minute about it.
Oh, no.
So we'll 100% be including your advice in that too. And then let's talk about colour in the kitchen. So colours of the cabinets versus colours of the lights. Do you think lighting is a way to maybe add colour to a neutral kitchen, or how would you feel about different lights or different colours?
So do you mean obviously the material of the light, is it?
Yeah, or even coloured, different coloured lights in what would be more like a cream kitchen. Do you think it's a way to bring colour, or would you rather play it safe and just have a standard colour light?
So in terms of the makeup of the light, I think going for colour, or some of the ceramics that you have, things like that are absolutely stunning. And let's say I don't think you can go wrong with a classic white kitchen. They're timeless, they're always around for a reason. So then if you're going to change simple things like your handles and your lighting to add a bit of colour, that looks amazing. But I don't know, the coloured bulbs where it actually gives the coloured hue? I wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
No, I wouldn't do those. Is that what you're saying, or are you just saying the actual?
No, I was talking about just the shade in general.
Oh my heart! I was like, the only time you should have that is in like a disco or something.
Yeah, I was thinking.
So absolutely coloured shades.
But each to their own. Each to their own.
I know. I was really trying to like play it safe. I was like, God, I hope I don't like really insult them, but no. Absolutely, coloured shades is it's a very easy way to introduce colour, like introduce something different to your kitchen, because I think that's another thing with kitchens. People, they're such an investment. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to be something you'll do it once, hopefully, in your house. You don't want to keep changing it. Whereas your lights, you can actually change out the shades quite easily and completely change the scheme then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so like, you would always recommend then, so go for like the same kind of material in on your lights as you would on your handles, and just to kind of keep the same kind of flow.
If it's like, if needed, if let's say you have, it's just something that I would look out for. If you have a bit of brass that's in your kitchen and it's not reflected anywhere else, then I'd reflect it in my lights. But it doesn't have to be. You know, you can balance your lights. Let's say if you had a nice white kitchen and then you had, let's say, one of the ceramics in a navy, that could be linked, let's say, to the stools on the island. They could be a navy velvet or something. Do you know what I mean? It just needs to be cohesive or balanced throughout.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It does. You're looking at me like, does it make sense? It does. Okay, let me see what other questions we have here. So, how do you select the right style of light for your kitchen island?
Yeah, so for your kitchen island, it really does come down to people's personal style. Like, I remember, was it the cage lights were so popular there for a while? Everyone wanted those kind of more industrial looking ones, whereas now the globe lights are really quite popular. But it would depend on two things, I guess. If the scheme is already done and we need to introduce something else, like we need to introduce a warm element, then I'd look at something that was more in the woods. And then also the client style. Are they more contemporary or are they more glamorous or traditional?
Okay, and when we speak of like the traditional, like would you tend to go from a more timeless kind of a look? Or are you kind of do you like more what's kind of trendy at the moment and to kind of change it up more often?
For me, I like to go for, I think, timeless, but maybe with more contemporary materials. But that's why I like a lot of the ones that Mullen do, because they'd have, let's say, the traditional glass drop bulb, but then you have the selection of the different materials. So if you want to go for the antique brass, we're going quite traditional there. Whereas if you want to go for I hope I'm saying this right now, but the brass, then it's much more contemporary. Do you know what I mean? So it's creating quite a balance there.
Yeah.
That's honestly how I do it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. That's great advice. Okay. Let's have a see what other questions we have here. So, what type of lighting works best for illuminating in the kitchen?
For illuminating in a kitchen, so I always go for the warm white. Is that what you're saying? In either warm white or the stark?
Yeah.
The stark white. I always go for warm white throughout the home, purely because it is warmer. It's more comfortable. I feel like the stark white, even in task areas, can just be too clinical.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And for, let's say, for wall lights, if you want to create actually quite a nice ambience, I do love the globe lights, because they offer just a really lovely glow, whether it's reflecting on the wall or around it, which also I don't know, I think that's just a personal thing I love.
Yeah, so really getting the difference between the task and the ambient lighting is so important.
So important, because you can't do one without the other. Like, it has to be functional, it has to be like the most functional place in your house. But also as well, you do want to be able to go in there. Like, kitchens have changed so much now. They're not just about the function. They are, like, as you were saying, the heart of the home. They're where we sit and have coffee and wine and, they have to have it all, really, like.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Camille, we're so looking forward to seeing whenever your kitchen is done.
Oh God!
I can't wait to see the choices you make. But yeah, I think that is all the questions that we have down for you, unless we have any questions from our followers here at the moment.
Oh, I was going to do the thing, but I don't think I can.
Do the what?
I was going to go through them, but I actually don't think
I know. I know, it always feels so funny, doesn't it, doing this? So we actually do have a couple here.
Okay, go on.
So the first one is, what is the best shade of Faro and Ball to paint your kitchen cupboards?
Oh, okay. Do I have my Faro and Ball? I actually don't. Weathered is a very nice colour. Weathered from Faro and Ball. I've seen that. It's kind of a neutral between grey and beige, and it's quite a nice one.
Yeah, that's a nice warm colour.
Nice and warm. It's not too blue. It's not too cream. Do you know, it's a nice neutral, nice balance.
Nice neutral.
Yeah.
And then we have another question here. Are island lights and over table lights too much in the one space?
No, definitely not. No, it totally depends, I guess, on the size as well. But you know, let's say for the norm new builds that are being built, our rooms are actually much smaller in them. But absolutely, let's say a standard U-shaped kitchen or even L-shaped kitchen with a nice peninsula or island, as long as you have the lights that they're not taking over the island, if you know what I mean, too many on them. So let's say maybe 2, and then a nice bigger pendant on your dining table looks gorgeous, and it's another way to really make it quite cohesive and start mixing in your finishes and materials.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great. So that was all the questions we have from followers. So, well, you're not done yet.
Oh God!
We have a quick fire round.
What's that?
So, what? Did Lana not tell you we had a quick fire round?
She's there laughing.
She's there laughing.
Oh my God! Go on, tell me. Go on.
Okay, so this is a one or the other. So whatever comes to your mind first.
Okay.
Whatever you prefer. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Netflix.
Brown hues or grey hues?
Grey hues.
Open fire or fake fire?
Open.
Open. Freestanding or built-in furniture?
Built-in.
Restaurant or takeaway?
Restaurant.
Vinyl or tiled flooring?
Vinyl or tiled? Ooh, vinyl.
Vinyl. Would you rather design a kitchen or a bedroom?
Kitchen. Yeah, because there's so much more in a kitchen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, part of the home.
Yeah.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
And then interest or Instagram or Pinterest?
Instagram. That wasn't that bad at all.
No, that's a fun round. We like that.
That's so funny.
That's great. Oh, someone just threw in a question here. What is the best lighting for a bathroom and how to avoid shadows?
How to avoid shadows. Best lighting for bathroom. Do you know, for bathrooms, I would usually say definitely very much so task. So I'd go with some nice recessed spots, and then I'd work with my lighting on wall lighting. So let's say either by the mirror, or if there's nice like artwork or something like that. So I'd actually more work with my wall lights, and nice wall lights, that's one thing where like I get my sanitary ware from a bathroom company, I get my lighting from a lighting company, not the standard. Does that make sense? Not the standard lights that clip onto the mirror.
Yeah, you definitely need good lighting for the vanity area. I think that's essential.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really is. It totally finishes, whether it's 2 on top of the mirror or 2 on the side.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, there you go. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, me too.
I think that's it. Aoife.
Come here, that was lovely.
That's all we have time for today.
Oh, great. Well, thanks so much for having me.
Not at all. Thank you so much for joining us. And best of luck with the design of your new home. We can't wait to see.
Thanks.
No problem at all. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. So good to talk to you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks everyone for joining. Bye.
Bye.
It's hard for me.